The Bears defense needs dudes right now, and there is a former first-round pass rusher that this own coaching staff is basically ready to ship out. But that is not even the whole story, because there is a monster out in Vegas that could be rocking navy and orange for a price that is going to leave you speechless. And on top of that, the offensive line just lost one of its most promising pieces, and Caleb Williams' future is on the line. Stick around till the end, because today Chi-Town is about to shake Thibodeaux. Look, I have been saying for weeks that Ryan Poles' number one priority this offseason is the defensive line. And this week at the Combine in Indy, things got real good, because a piece of information came out that Bears fans need to hear carefully, calmly, and with eyes wide open, because this thing has layers, it has risk, and it has a massive opportunity hidden inside. Connor Hughes, a beat reporter who covers the New York Giants and the Jets, dropped a bomb at the Combine. He said this word for word: Thibodeaux, according to sources, is a player the Giants are listening to offers on, and the belief among teams here at the Combine is that eventually Thibodeaux is going to get traded. I heard that and I just completely stopped, because I have to ask you, Chicago people, how many teams in the NFL desperately need a young pass rusher with proven talent, hungry to prove value, and potentially available for a fourth or fifth rounder? I think there are very few, and the Chicago Bears are one of the teams that need that the most. Let us break this down, because this deserves a real deep look. Thibodeaux was the number 5 pick in the 2022 draft by the Giants. Number 5 overall, folks. That is not just any player. That is a player that came in with sky-high expectations from day one. In 2023, the numbers shut everybody up. 10.5 sacks in 17 games, 10.5, best year of this career so far, and showed flashes of what Thibodeaux can be when healthy and locked in. But the last 2 years have been a constant fight with injuries. And that is where it gets messy, because injuries are the ghost that has been chasing Thibodeaux since day one in the league, and the Giants clearly already ran out of patience. Now, let me say this. The fact that the Giants are willing to move on does not mean Thibodeaux is a broken player. It means New York is in rebuild mode and does not want to commit big money to a player who is heading into the final year of that rookie deal, the 5th-year option, and is going to ask for a huge contract if there is a big season. That is exactly where Chicago needs to jump in, and listen closely, because this matters. If the Bears land Thibodeaux for a 4th rounder, like some mock trades are suggesting, that is highway robbery, straight up robbery. A former number 5 overall pick on the table for a 4th round pick. Poles should be on the phone right now, but here comes the part that makes me nervous. There's a massive decision Poles would have to make the minute this trade goes through. Do you pay Thibodeaux or not? Let me throw this back at you and really think about it. What did the Bears do when they traded for Montez Sweat? They paid Sweat right away. They extended that contract the same day as the trade, and I think that was the right call with Sweat, because Sweat had already shown consistency. Thibodeaux is not Sweat. Thibodeaux still needs to prove it with health and with consistent play through a full year. So if you pay right away, you are betting on the future of a player that has not fully finished developing yet. And if you do not pay now, Thibodeaux has every reason in the world to go out there, play the best ball of this career, and then ask for a contract that blows the top off the salary cap. That is a double-edged sword. Exactly like the article says, there is no perfect answer here, but let me be completely honest with you. The risk is worth it. At 25, hungry with a chip on the shoulder, Thibodeaux in a revamped Bears defense could be absolutely devastating. Chicago has Montez Sweat on the right side. Picture Thibodeaux on the left. Picture that pressure on the quarterback. Picture what that does for this defense, and let me remind you of something else. The other options Chicago has at that spot are way more expensive. Max Crosby, who we are going to talk about in this same video, would be a massive investment. Trey Hendrickson in free agency is going to ask for a huge number. Thibodeaux, on the other hand, could come in for a relatively low price in picks. With max motivation and with the talent to be a real impact dude, I think Ryan Poles has to make that call, has to be on it right now. And if Poles pulls the trigger on this before some other team jumps in, Bears fans are going to be very happy, because the window to get Thibodeaux cheap is not going to stay open forever. Teams are already doing the math at the Combine. The clock is ticking, and on top of that, think about this. Thibodeaux was already close to getting moved before last season's trade deadline. The rumors were there. It never happened. Now that name is back in trade circles with more heat than before. And the general feeling at the Combine is that this move is going to happen. The question is not if there will be a trade. The question is where Thibodeaux ends up, and I want that destination to be Chicago. Bear down, folks. Bear down. If that caught you off guard, wait till you hear what is next, because the next name we're going to talk about has taken over every single offseason conversation around the NFL. And the big question is whether the Bears are really willing to pay the price to bring this dude to Soldier Field. Max Crosby, 2 words that have rocked every single football conversation these last few weeks. 2 words that are already creating an inevitable split in Las Vegas, and 2 words that make Chicago sit back and ask, is this actually possible? Is it really possible that this edge-rushing monster ends up rocking navy and orange? Let us start with the facts. Tom Pelissero, one of the most trusted reporters in the NFL, said publicly that there is a real chance Max Crosby gets traded before free agency even opens. Before free agency? Folks, that is huge. That means the Las Vegas Raiders are fully in rebuild mode and do not want to carry the contract of the best player on the roster unless there is a legit championship window. And here's where the idea cooked up by our sister site, Silver and Black Pride, gets real interesting. They asked all the SB Nation team sites to send in their best offers for Crosby, and they are going to choose whichever deal they think is best for the Raiders. Windy City Gridiron, the Bears site, jumped in on this and threw out a very real, very serious offer. The proposed trade looks like this. The Bears get Max Crosby. The Raiders get DJ Moore, the Bears' number 25 pick in the 2026 draft, which is this year's first rounder plus a third-round pick in the 2027 draft. I heard that offer and I had to sit with it. I sat with that for a good while, and the wild part is that Jeremy Fowler from ESPN tossed out the exact same package in an article not long after that rumor started bouncing around during Super Bowl week. The exact same deal. That is not random, folks. When 2 different sources coming from 2 different lanes land on the same offer, that tells you something. It tells you that package has weight, has logic. But now I have to ask you this, and I really want you to hit the comments with your answer, because this is the million-dollar question. Would you give up DJ Moore, this year's pick number 25, and a 2027 third-rounder for Max Crosby? I think that deal splits the fan base right down the middle, and I get both sides. On one side, Max Crosby is one of the best edge rushers in the entire NFL. Not just one of the hottest right now, one of the best on the planet at that position, with proven consistency, with numbers that speak loud, and with a work ethic that is basically legendary around the league. This dude does not miss, does not get hurt, shows up, plays, and wrecks quarterbacks, and is 27-27, right in the prime of that career. Bringing Max Crosby to Chicago next to Montez Sweat on the opposite edge might give the Bears the best edge-rushing duo in the entire NFC. Think about that, not just the NFC North, the whole NFC. That flips this Bears defense overnight. That gives Ben Johnson a defensive complement that is going to keep every opposing offensive coordinator up at night. On the other side, the cost is brutal, straight brutal. DJ Moore is not just a wide receiver. DJ Moore is one of the best partners Caleb Williams could have. That is the trusted go-to in high-pressure moments. Losing Moore would directly weaken Chicago's passing game at a time when Caleb Williams is still trying to build an identity in this league. And handing Vegas that number 25 first-rounder this year is giving up a valuable piece in a draft that is loaded with good tackles and good defensive players. Let me be crystal clear. The trade is tempting, but the risk is massive when it comes to the immediate impact on Caleb Williams' offense. And I think Poles has to be extremely careful here, because the goal is not just having the best defense in the league. The goal is to win the Super Bowl. And to win a Super Bowl, you have to score and you have to defend. Now, if the Raiders say yes to something in that ballpark, if this deal actually goes through, the whole NFC North landscape changes in a historic way. The Packers are already building around Jordan Love. The Lions have that core locked in. The Vikings are out there trying something with Sam Darnold. And the Bears, with Crosby and Sweat screaming off the edges on defense and Caleb Williams under center. would be the kind of team nobody wants to see in January. I think Poles is weighing exactly that right now. At the Combine, every conversation is strategic. Every handshake is a negotiation in motion. And while the Raiders sit back and wait for the best offer, Chicago has to decide how much this kind of game wrecker is really worth. But there is still a huge question I have to throw out there. If you bring in Crosby and move on from Moore, who are you surrounding Caleb Williams with on offense? That is the question that is not letting me sleep tonight here in Chi-Town. And just when you think you have processed all of that, here comes the news that hits Caleb Williams' short-term future the hardest. Because the Bears' offensive line just took a hit nobody saw coming, and now Ryan Poles is in full emergency mode. Ozzie Trapilo, 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line are coming back. Joe Thuney at left guard. Drew Dahlman at center, Jonah Jackson at right guard, Darnell Wright at right tackle. 4 high-level players that make Chicago's offensive line one of the best units in the league, but there is an empty spot on that line that is keeping Ryan Poles up at night right now. And that spot is left tackle. Ozzie Trapilo, the second-round pick in the 2025 draft, won the starting job in November last season, and from that point through the end of the regular season was one of the biggest surprises on the team. A rookie who came in, adjusted quickly, and protected Caleb Williams' blindside with a level of maturity you do not usually see from a first-year lineman. The fans embraced Trapilo. The coaching staff trusted that player. And the future looked bright. But in the wild-card game against the Packers, Trapilo suffered a serious knee injury, and Ryan Poles confirmed this week in Indy that the injury is going to keep Trapilo out for most of the 2026 season. Most of the 2026 season, I heard that, and the Chicago winter chill just ran right through me because that is not some minor update. That is an offensive line crisis. That is a problem Poles has to solve fast and with limited resources. Because that first-round pick is already being talked about as part of a possible Crosby trade, and the salary cap has its own limits. So what are the options? Poles laid them out at the Combine, and I am going to break them down here. Option 1, free agency. There are tackles on the market who could be a temporary solution for 2026 while Trapilo recovers. They are not going to be elite. They are not going to be the long-term tackle everybody is dreaming of. But they might be good enough to keep Caleb Williams upright while the team waits for Trapilo to get back. Option 2, the draft. Poles flat out said the tackle is a deep spot in this 2026 draft. Tackle is pretty healthy this year, Poles said, in Indy. Not sure, some years you have a bunch, some years there are still a couple waiting there for you. We will see how it shakes out. With pick number 25 in the first round, Chicago could take a tackle that steps in and competes right away, but keep in mind that same pick is on the table in the possible Crosby deal. If Poles moves that pick, the draft is no longer a first-round solution at left tackle. Option 3, internal players. Braxton Jones, who started the first 4 games last season at left tackle, is about to hit free agency, knows the system, knows the teammates, but if there were full trust long-term, Jones would never have lost that job. Theo Benedette started 6 games last year and is developing, and Kieran Amagaji, who Poles mentioned carefully, has shown promise in flashes. None of those 3 give me full confidence to protect Caleb Williams' blindside in a year where the Bears want to make a deeper playoff run. And speaking of Joe Thuney, I know some fans are already thinking, what if they bump Thuney out to left tackle? Poles shut that door already. Thuney just won the first ever Protector of the Year award as the best offensive lineman in the NFL at left guard. Thuney is not moving. You do not touch that. That is elite right where it is, and it stays there. What I think is this. Poles is going to have to work this from multiple angles. There is going to have to be a decent bridge option in free agency and a tackle with upside from the draft that can step in, compete, and grow. There is no one single move that fixes all of this. And the question I have for you, Bears fans, the question everybody should be asking tonight is, how much does losing Trapilo affect Caleb Williams' confidence inside that pocket? Because the left tackle is the one protecting the quarterback's blindside. That is the most important spot on the line in terms of keeping the quarterback safe. And Caleb Williams, just getting started in this career, needs to know there is someone trustworthy watching the back. Polls did make one positive thing clear. This front office does not think Trapillo's injury is a career killer. We expect Trapillo to come back and bounce back from this. I do not see this affecting the career long term or next year, Polls said, and that is the one thing that gives everyone a little bit of hope here. Trapillo is going to come back. Trapillo is going to be the Bears' left tackle of the future. But 2026 has to get solved by Polls somehow, and the clock is ticking. The combine is happening right now. Free agency decisions are right around the corner. The draft is coming, and the Bears' offensive line has a hole that needs to be filled before the 2026 season kicks off. I think Polls gets that. I think pieces are already moving, and I think at the end of the day, this team is going to be more ready than we think. But the process, the road to get there, that road makes me nervous. And if you are a Bears fan, it should make you nervous too. Bear down, Chicago. Bear down. We are at the end of this one, and I really need you to drop what you think in the comments because we just went through 3 stories that shift the outlook of this team in very different and very important ways. On Kayvon Thibodeaux, let me ask you straight up, would you give up a 4th-round pick for a 25-year-old pass rusher with 10.5 sacks in the best season so far, knowing that Thibodeaux is coming in hungry and motivated to prove something? Drop that answer down below. If you say yes, tell me why. If you say no, tell me what worries you. On Max Crosby, this is the real $1 million question, and I want an honest answer. Would you send off DJ Moore? This year's pick number 25 and a 2027 3rd-rounder for the best edge rusher available in the NFL? Think about Caleb Williams. Think about the defense. Think about a Lombardi. Then give me that verdict in the comments because this is the decision that is splitting the whole fan base, and I want to hear every voice. And on Ozzie Trapillo and the offensive line, let me throw this out there. Out of the 3 options Polls has, free agency, the draft, or rolling with internal guys, which one do you think is the best way to protect Caleb Williams in 2026? That is the debate I want to see on Fire down there. Listen, if you made it this far, if you watched this whole video, you are already part of this family, part of this community that lives and breathes navy blue and orange every single day of the year, not just on Sundays. And I am asking you to take that next step. Subscribe to this channel. That is what makes this community bigger. Every new subscriber is a new member of the Bears en Espanol family. And this family needs to grow because Chi-Town deserves more voice, more breakdowns, and more passion in the language we speak at home. Hit like on this video if you believe Polls is going to make the right moves this offseason. Share this with that friend who is also a Bears fan and still has no clue what is going on with Thibodeaux, with Crosby, or with this offensive line situation. That friend needs to know. And this channel is where they are going to get it. I am Miguel Morales. This is the Bear Truth family, and from right here in Chi-Town, I am saying bear down, Bears fans. Always bear down. See you in the next video.